So Andrew says, one cocoa fill basket. Me telling you, I'm going to get my Jamaican on, you know. I telling you, the man says, just because you're born as a Jamaican doesn't make you a Jamaican. So I need to learn some proverbs. I need to learn a little bit of patois more. And I need to start finding some cocoa to put into my basket. I'm on my way.
Madam President, Excellencies, on behalf of Jamaica, I extend warm congratulations to you, Madam President, on your election to preside over this landmark 80th session of the General Assembly. Just last week, Jamaica marked 63 years as a proud member of the United Nations. As we celebrate the UN's 80th anniversary, we reaffirm our unwavering commitment to the principles of the UN Charter. From decolonization to peacekeeping, from eradicating diseases to promoting human rights, the UN has achieved remarkable success over these past 8 decades. Yet, as we confront global challenges, including pandemics, climate change, armed conflict, and persistent poverty, we must acknowledge that our multilateral system requires urgent reform and revitalization to meet the needs of the 21st century. The UN80 initiative is an opportunity to strengthen multilateralism with concrete action, institutional reform, and renewed political will. We must build a system that is more democratic, representative, and responsive to evolving challenges. Jamaica is honored that our permanent representative is co-chairing the working group on UN80 mandate implementation review, along with the permanent representative of New Zealand, and we look forward to meaningful outcomes. Madam President, Jamaica believes in a future where multilateralism works for all, where no country is too small to be heard, where the concerns of small islands facing rising seas are addressed, where the benefits of globalization are equitably shared, and where international cooperation is based on respect for the sovereignty of each nation. Climate change committed to achieving net zero emissions by 2050 and have implemented our national adaptation plan with specific measures to build resilience across key sectors, and we are on track to achieve our renewable energy target of 50% by 2030. However, our efforts and those of other SIDS are severely constrained by the lack of predictable access to financing. The promise of $100 billion annually remains unfulfilled. The Loss and Damage Fund established at COP28 was historic, yet its initial capitalization of $800 million is grossly inadequate. Developed countries must honor their commitments and scale up climate finance, recognizing that adaptation is a necessity for the survival of small island developing states. The global financing system remains fundamentally flawed. It penalizes reforming economies like Jamaica with high borrowing costs while ignoring our vulnerabilities. Through sacrifice, discipline, and sound management, Jamaica has reduced its debt to GDP ratio from 144% to now 62%. Yet we remain locked out of concessional financing because of outdated metrics based solely on per capita income. Jamaica supports the application of the Multidimensional Vulnerability Index that more accurately assesses countries' development needs and their eligibility for concessional financing. Jamaica also strongly supports innovative financing mechanisms, including debt for climate swaps, debt for nature swaps, and blended finance instruments that can unlock private sector investments in sustainable development projects while reducing debt burdens. We welcome initiatives such as the IMF's Resilience and Sustainability Trust and call for its expansion to support more countries in building climate resilience. Madam President, multilateralism must deliver fairness for all countries to believe that constructive dialogue and engagement offers the best path forward for all countries. That is the case, Madam President, for the people of Cuba, so that they may be able to fully participate in the global economy. We encourage continued domestic reform in Cuba and greater integration into international systems supported by policies that enable progress rather than isolation. Madam President, Jamaica once again condemns the heinous October 7, 2023 attack on Israel and is deeply horrified by the devastating humanitarian consequences of the counteroffensive in the Palestinian territories. A just and peaceful resolution to the conflict is only possible through diplomacy and dialogue. We continue to support United Nations Security Council Resolution 242 and support the call for a ceasefire agreement that includes the release of all remaining hostages and definitively ending the protracted war and human suffering. Madam President, political instability, gang violence, and humanitarian crises in Haiti affect not only the Haitian people, but the entire region. As current chair of CARICOM, Jamaica has led and participated in efforts to restore peace and constitutional order in Haiti. Last year, we welcomed and participated in the deployment of the Multinational Security Support Mission to Haiti, and we commend Kenya's leadership in this initiative. Despite progress made, the situation remains dire. As we contemplate next steps, we urge member states, especially those in the Security Council, to operationalize the recommendations made by the Secretary General for a transition to a more robust hybrid mechanism to deal with the situation in Haiti. We call on member states to provide the necessary financial and logistic support to ensure the success of this initiative. But security operations alone will not suffice. Haiti's governance deficit and fragile institutional framework must be addressed. Once stability is restored, the international community must help rebuild democratic institutions, ensure free and fair elections, expand humanitarian relief, and invest in infrastructure to support long-term stability. Haiti's recovery requires sustained global support. Madam President, the Haitian crisis has laid bare a wider truth. Transnational criminal networks involved in cybercrime, trafficking arms, narcotics, and people, organizing violence and destabilizing institutions, are an existential threat to states. Gangs are now global syndicates with resources.
We need a public education awareness program. Too many people in this country here in the UK have no idea on what it is that their forefathers did to put Britain where it is today. You walk around Britain today and you see the buildings, you see the marble. I went to Scotland and I was taken around and shown buildings that said, this was bought from the proceeds of a slave that was owned. And when slavery was abolished and payments made to the slave owners, they built that house. All over the UK is the tangible evidence of how the society benefited from the proceeds of slavery. So, one of the things that is required is an apology. An apology for what was a systematic and sustained pattern of enslavement that was preserved and fiercely protected for centuries. It must be coupled with a willingness to engage former colonies on the matter and have a frank but open discussion about the issue and what is at stake.